that was quite a bit. Number 3, policy KF-R, use of school facilities. And again, I'm going to say that this is a policy that still has some questions, although it certainly seems to be a little bit further along in the subcommittee queue. But there still apparently are some questions about some of the monies from some of the leagues.
You're asking for a motion?
Yeah, I guess we need a motion to...
Having sponsored this question, as you just asked, this is not on the queue for subcommittee. This was decided on in subcommittee, it has some notations, and it is appropriate that we...
No, that's fine.
To that immediately is how I understand it as a member of the subcommittee.
Okay,
And
I understood
so
that
it is
there's
the
some
remarks.
questions.
I really don't know where it's scheduled for next. We had some requests, and we got some information.
No,
Just like clarity.
yeah. Did you want to make a motion, Mr. Sullivan?
So that's why
To accept it?
my motion is to discuss it.
To discuss it. Is there a second?
No, motion to discuss, yes, second.
Mr. Larrabee?
Have we heard back from all the leagues? If you remember back, I believe it was, I want to say June or long time ago, we had asked the leagues to come up with a restructuring of the seasonal fees. We asked them for $15,000, which I put in that last page there, just for reference. They came back with about $12,000, saying, hey, we looked at the 15, we think it's too much. They give us, here's what a 30% increase would look like, which would be going to the 12,000. We said that we would consider the 12,000. We then, if you recall, we got into a discussion of what's a season. And at that point in time, the leagues were not interested in trying to define the season. I volunteered to go back, look at what they've used in the past, and define the season and bring it back. I think that's one of the pieces that, if you look at that list, you have the number of weeks. The soccer was divided into 2 seasons, basically, or 2 parts of the same season, one in the fall, one in the spring. And basically what I did is I went through their request that they put in every year and counted the number of weeks, more or less, that they use. And I'm putting it here as a suggested, here's the season. When we were in the subcommittee, we started discussing the other part that came up was, okay, now you have fees, you have the season, now let's define the field or what is actually being used. With the gyms for basketball, it's easy. You're using this gym, that gym, that gym. Where we got into a little bit of a further discussion is what happens when you get into the outside use of the fields. There was some discussion about some fields are better than others, should we charge more for some, not so much for the others. We got into, for example, soccer. Are we calling the fields the whole area surrounding whatever school they ask to use, which could be divided into 1 field, 2 fields, 15 fields, depending how big the kids are and where they put the fields. I had a hard time with that, and it would be great to have some feedback on this. What I put in here was, for soccer, basically they want to use the whole grounds at all the schools. For baseball and softball, they had asked for 4 sites. What the 4 sites or the 7 sites mean, my guess is we're talking diamonds that have been cut out. So we have a little bit of a better handle on softball and baseball. I'm still all over the place with trying to define what the field in soccer, because depending on the size or for practices, then they move the cones here, there, and everywhere, and any piece of grass becomes a field. So I honestly don't know how to define it unless we tell them, unless we define it for you, and put stakes in the ground and say, this is your field, and you pay for that field. I think it's gonna be a difficult project at best.
Mr. Larry, then Mr. Sullivan.
Through the chair. So the leagues are amicable with the fees at the 12 or 13,000?
12.
They actually,
12,000.
they actually put that out there.
Okay. Have they seen what you've defined as a season?
No.
Okay. Are we happy with what we're considering a season?
It's pretty much what they did last year, whether they want more time or less time this year. The reason why I said to them is I was gonna use something like weeks, is so that if they say this year we wanna use an extra month, I could say, okay, well, last year you used 3 months, so let's divide what you paid last year and add another month to it, so we could actually figure it out. Or if they say, hey, we don't wanna go the extra month, we wanna go 1 month less, we should cut the fee for them if that was the case. So,
Okay.
that part I feel comfortable with, they haven't seen it.
Now, as for soccer in the fields, to continue to chair,
What,
I think the site,
Mr. Larry, I'm sorry, you asked a question, you got an answer, and I'm gonna recognize
Oh,
you,
that's
so
fine.
we'll get back on that.
And actually, it's a continuation that, while we've embraced the concept of fees and seasons, we still need to define what is a field. Currently, the paperwork requests fields. So if a motion is in order, I would make a motion that we accept this fee schedule and implement receipt of these fees by invoicing, and under the policy as so revised.
And not to do the season or the fields?
I think any other revisions we'll take up in subcommittee going further. This certainly is an update, 10 years past due, but the motion is stopped at that first.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So the,
Yeah, actually, yes, the fees. You would say, but I assume you voted on it. Okay.
you wanna do anything else about that, or just send the rest back?
We'll update it, we'll revise it, and we'll be back in the queue.
Are there any other comments from anyone? Okay.
do we have?
Can I
Yeah,
have a motion to adjourn?
so moved.